So, yes, welcome to this first week of a course I've been thinking about doing for a while, which is about trusting more our authentic selves. And I think that's relevant to kind of anything we're experiencing. This particular course, I've given anxiety a focus because it is such a common experience of many in different degrees, especially with all these changing times we're going through. And I mean, anxiety is quite broad. I mean, anxiety can also mean stress, putting that, or overthinking, or, there's all these things that we can do that maybe it's not coming from that authentic self. It's coming from a different place. So this course is looking at anxiety in its broadest form. And also because so many people I have been working with are experiencing this, I thought it's good to address it and to look at Yuan Gong and see what tools we have more specifically to work with when anxiety comes up on sort of two levels. So firstly, just, in the moment when it's occurring and we want to get back to a better state. So it's sort of a slight damage control. And then also looking at tools of really exploring things from a deeper level of where this anxiety or stress or worry is coming from. And so it's like that overall arching practice that we've learnt in Yuan Gong of shining the light on things. So the Jucha, the awareness and observation, just rather than get into something, whatever it is, an emotion or a fear, or rather than it take us over, just learning tools how to just take a seat in our authentic self. So take a seat in our heart and just be able to feel that safe place inside and notice the anxiety or notice the emotion, notice the stress, rather than it totally leading us and taking us places we don't want to go. So you could say that the living from the authentic self is more, it's step by step, is really living from life from our heart versus our fear, or versus from our patterns, because it's our patterns that create all these emotional reactions, including anxiety. So when we live from the heart and more from the authentic self, we can make clearer choices, because often when we make choices from the emotional place, especially anxiety, often we make choices that create more anxiety. Versus from, the authentic self that can really get to the root of things and make choices that, that are beneficial, truly beneficial to life. So it's about trusting ourselves. We all hear about confidence. Confidence in a way is opposite to anxiety. And when we can trust that authentic self, or trust the heart, trust ourselves, that truer part of ourselves, we will bring more safety, naturally bring more sense of safety. And that's just the baseline. And from that safety, we can experience, more joy and so many other things. So this is just the foundational piece of just knowing that in this course, even though we're looking at anxiety, it's not going to be our focus in a way, so which is a bit paradoxical. So we'll look at it a little bit. Like today, we're going to do a little bit more on anxiety, because I just wanted to outline some really interesting scientific stuff and I'll do my best, because it's not really my thing. I'm not really so good at the science part, but I have found that by looking at the science part, it's really helped me understand why I might feel anxious sometimes, and that it's not about shaming oneself, but just knowing actually that anxiety is actually a normal and natural response in our systems. And it is usually in response to danger or threat. And so the main thing or issue there is that often we're responding to perceived danger and threat. And that's really what we're wanting to work with in this course, is that we have perceived danger and threat, which may or may not be real and unreal. And so from our anxious part of ourselves, or from that emotional part, we will see a lot of danger and threat. Whereas, and it may or may not be true. And I just want to go behind the science of that today. It may or may not be true, whereas our authentic self, the truer part of ourselves, is better able to assess the truth. It's almost like our truth resonates with the truth of what's happening. We can see much clearer. So during the course, in general, it's going to be quite similar to other courses we've done, where we do a little bit of theory and, of course, Qigong practice and some like sharing and discussion. So an open co-creative space where we learn from each other. And just this time, just to let you know that although we're going to be doing some Qigong practice, I've kind of put a bit of a focus on breathing techniques, because breathing basically activates our parasympathetic nervous system directly. So it directly gets to, it's the parasympathetic nervous system which calms us down. So I'll explain a little bit more about the science, but I'm going to do more breathing exercises, which is from the Yuan Gong. So I've just taken pieces out that I've looked at other bodies of knowledge around anxiety and seen how it correlates to each other. So I've used techniques that are in both. And then also some grounding exercises. And some of those are from Yuan Gong and some are just other basic things that would fit within that. Just extra things that you can use quite instantly in your daily life. So that's what there's sort of an outline of where we're going. So we'll start with just a few slides, just 4 slides, and I've actually got some cartoons that I will give. Real thanks to a lady in Nelson, a very young woman who has she's got a Instagram and all sorts of things called Journey to Wellness, and she's quite a young woman. She's a counsellor, and she's got some beautiful kind of cartoons she's made, which kind of lightens up the topic. And she has actually travelled a lot with anxiety, with panic attacks, and she's developed a whole body of work and is working a lot with young people. So, and our young people are feeling this. We all feel this, but our young people are really feeling the anxiety. So it's beautiful, her work. So hopefully I can just get that on the slideshow, because I haven't, I didn't prepare that little bit of actually getting it organised, but I will find it. I'll just get that organised from here. Okay. Try and share again. Here we are. So just go back to the very first one, which some of you may have seen, which I think is just an overriding little cartoon on trusting our authentic self. So actually, think if I press, is that the bigger one? It's been a while since I've done a slideshow. I think it could go bigger. It's big, but I think I can do it a little bit more professionally. It's just been a while. Okay, let me see there if that's the one. Okay, no, it's not. I think that's okay. Anyway, there's only a few slides today. So the first one is just an overview, you know, trusting the path we're on and having faith in our abilities. It's a cute little cartoon. And then, so from the authentic self, which I've already gone through, we can shine the light on anxiety. And so when we shine the light on things, it's less scary. You know, when we try and avoid things or we just want to hide it away in the dark, we don't really want to look at something, it grows. So that's the thing with anxiety, it grows when we try and avoid it or put it somewhere else. I just wonder if people can mute, because I hear a little bit of, I don't know, it's funny because I can, Charlotte is muted, but I thought it came more from there. But if we just mute, then that's good. We won't, I don't know where it's coming from. It might be you, Paulette, if you, I could do that from here actually. Maybe. All good. So we're going to look today at what anxiety is. Just, I mean, we all know what it is. We've all felt it, I'm sure. And we know what it feels like. But it's just really interesting. I found it really interesting to understand things like from a physical level, what's happening. And actually, by looking at it all, I found it all just so much more manageable to see, you know, working with people with anxiety, what's actually going on for them. And this is quite extreme anxiety. So we have a brain, as we know, and there's all these parts of our brain. And we're going to talk a lot about this guy today. It's the amygdala. And I'll show you where it is in the brain next. But this guy and the hypothalamus and the hippocampus, they hang out together and they form what you call a limbic system, which is kind of the emotional center of the brain. And then we have a brain stem, which we'll go into. And then we have sensory cortex and the prefrontal cortex. So I'm really not, I'm not a brain specialist. So I'm going to keep it pretty basic. But just even a basic understanding can help us understand what's happening in our bodies if that happens for us, anxiety. So here we have the brain. And let me go back actually and explain a little bit more about this guy, the amygdala. So they're all part of the emotional center. And the amygdala's job is to scan the environment for threat, for danger or threat. And so it can recognize real threat. So even really that subtle awareness before something happens or before an earthquake, you know, people are aware sometimes, or so it can do that. It's quite a clever part of the brain. But it also can connect up with this guy, the prefrontal cortex, and pick up the pictures. And this guy is full of imagination, and he can or she can create pictures and sometimes they can be true, but often they are imaginations, so they're not really real, or replays from the past and things like that. And it sends the images to the amygdala, and so the amygdala starts responding as though there's a threat, but there is not a threat. It's an imaginary threat. So that's just how that part of the brain. And so this one, when the amygdala just knows, oh, there's a threat, the direct route, it's quite a fast process. So it's a instant fast track. And this process where the frontal cortex and these guys start hanging out and communicating, it's a slow track. And and it can stay in the system for quite a time. So this is kind of the instant is what we're made for. You know, we need the anxiety has a role. All our emotions have a role, and it's, you know, they're like signals, whether it's anger or fear or anxiety. They're all like warning systems. It's all natural. But in this case, it can, you know, we make stories in our head, and it can become, and it's not even real, and it can create so much stress and all sorts in the body. So the amygdala, you know, it is a developmental thing. So, you know, it's an evolutionary development of the brain. So there's the caveman days where, you know, there's a survival and there's a warning system, even rustling of something in the leaves, in the bushes, because we needed to know in those days if there are any saber-toothed tigers in the area or any other tribes in the area. And so we needed that immediate response to keep ourselves safe. And as you know, we don't have that in our world anymore, really, that saber-toothed tigers are at our door, although we have modern day saber-toothed tigers. So sort of it may be that we find unknown situations challenging, or even sort of seeing other people, some people as threats. So part of this course is kind of about, in a light way, just having a look at what our saber-toothed tigers are. So we'll be looking at that further in the course. So just to show you what's happening with, this is the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. So it could be a direct, it's scanning for danger, but then this guy might actually give a message as well, that imaginary message that there's danger. And what happens then is once it's registered a danger, it sends a signal down the brainstem, which goes to our kidneys, and then the kidneys actually release a lot of adrenaline and other stress hormones. So it's actually a physical thing. So yeah, it's a physical thing. So you can understand that if we're often having anxious thoughts, we're creating all this stress hormones in the body. And what happens is it really affects things in quite a big way sometimes, because when there's a threat, it's like there's minimal services that happen in the body because our body shuts down. It really needs to try and deal with this threat with the adrenaline. And so when all the stress hormones are in the body, it shuts down our digestion. And as you know, like, gut health is quite important to anxiety levels. So we just create this sort of cycle of poor digestion and anxiety going together. Or, you know, sometimes when they might occasionally feel anxious, or just before a talk or something, and you get that butterfly feeling or the nauseous feeling, that's all because of that process. And also we start to get a fast breathing rate, which is why we'll be looking at breathing in this course. And it's because our oxygen and carbon dioxide is sort of out of balance. And And when that happens, we can get a tight chest or faintness or dizziness or a fast heartbeat. So we can think, it feels like the world is going to end. I know I've actually, I've worked with some people who have panic attacks, and it can feel like the world's ending. But it's just good to know that their natural response is what's happening, you know, between the brain and the body. And the good thing to know is that it does not last forever, because we have this other amazing system that will kick in, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. It's natural that it will start to kick in and create calmness, but it's just sometimes, yeah, taking a little bit of control over that. So we do need to trust that our parasympathetic nervous system will kick in. Sometimes, though, we just want to avoid those feelings. So I guess this course is about how to create enough safe space that if you do feel anxiety, that you can separate yourself from it, that you can, yeah, not avoid it. So looking at it, but not in it. So that's the main focus of how we can do that in this course. Because when we avoid things that actually we think make us feel this way, we actually give the anxiety power, and then our joy and freedom in life shrinks. So we're going to learn how to actively support our parasympathetic nervous system. And one of those ways is through breath and grounding, you know, how to just sit with it when we're facing uncomfortable sensations and experiences. And then we kind of gain more the driver's seat, and we'll get to know, just like, you know, curiosity, that ducha, having a curious awareness, or getting to understand our anxiety better. What is the saber-toothed tiger, and is it real? Can be really interesting. And just using the experiences we have, even if challenging, you know, as a tool for growth. So, and we will create that distance where we won't need to follow the anxiety. So this is just the stress responses we have: fight, flight, and freeze. We talked a little bit about that in the last course, which can happen, and different people have different ways of dealing with anxiety, and sometimes it can be a combination. This is quite a detailed thing. I don't think I'll go through it a lot. It's probably too much information for today, but I did find it, and I thought it was really interesting. And it will be there on the slideshow, and I will just put the slideshow separately as well into onto the online program that you've got, so you can have a look at it in more detail, because I think as we go through the course it might make a bit more sense to sort of explain what's happening there. That this is the sympathetic nervous system, is more the flight and fight, and the parasympathetic nervous system is more in here, feeling more safe, that we can socially engage. We're feeling more in, you'd say, the authentic self. And this is also parasympathetic sympathetic, which is confusing, the freeze, because it's also calm, or it's also kind of still, but it's a frozen still. So that's not where we want to be either. But so it's, yeah, so how we can stay in here is what we're looking at. So that's just an overview. I think I've covered most things. Just here This is the parasympathetic sympathy. I mean, I've taken, I don't know how many times I've heard these words. So if you think, what in the hell, all these words, and so you don't need to know them all. It's taken me a long time because I'm not really into all these words to, but just think about, parasympathetic is when we're resting, digesting, restoring, and peace and calm. And the sympathetic nervous system kicks in when we're stressed, anxious, or see a threat. And so we're going to be focusing on here. And just almost like, so this is, you say this is our authentic self. And this is a part of us too. We all know this woman, this part of us too. And we're going to just use this one to calm this one. So rather than focus on this one, if we focus on this one, you imagine, she might become more dramatic actually if we focus on her. So we focus more on this one and she will calm this one down. So that is just a very brief foundation. I'll just say it's a foundation so that we, as we move forward with, why are we doing so much breathing exercises and all that? It's because we're going to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So before we go on, I just wondered if there are any questions. Hopefully I explained that okay. Okay. So we're going to just move into some exercises, which are useful for most people. I mean, every person actually, because when we're in a state of anxiety, our muscles are quite tense. And I think all of us in this living day create or carry a certain level of stress. So if you're not calm, relaxed, and natural all the time, which I know I'm not, then any of these exercises will be useful to just create a bigger window of calm, relaxed, and natural in our daily life, because stress and anxiety are quite interlinked. So today we are going to do some Qigong, a meditation, but we're also just going to do some physical exercise. What we're going to first do is what we call just getting aware of the breathing. We're going to do some muscle work, muscle tension work, but also just getting an idea of our breathing rate. So it's called the breathing biofeed count, back count. So what we're going to do is I'm going to time for 1 minute and you're going to count your breathing just as it is now. And this just gives us an idea of how our breathing rate is. So, and then we're going to do a breathing exercise, and then we're going to count our breaths. So you can see how you will notice how the breathing exercises will calm, lengthen, and deepen the breath. Because often when we're anxious, the energy is up. Stress, the energy is up and our muscles are tight. So today we're focusing on how to bring the energy down, the breathing more calm, and how to relax. And of course, we know a lot of relaxation comes from Qigong, but I'm just doing some really specific exercises that you can do, like in 2 minutes, sitting on a chair to relax the body. So I'm just going to find a timer. And so, no, I'll just wait if we're all ready. And, our breathing rate changes. So we don't really have we might have a general set breathing pace, but it will change. So now that I put it, if everyone's ready, I'll put it on for 1 minute. and just count your natural breathing. Just notice and count. So we're going to start now. So just stop now and just take note of your breathing rate. So you can keep that to yourself. At the moment, mine's 9, and generally it's about 8 or 9. So anywhere up to 20 is kind of a safe zone. And like when we get over 20, it's usually we're breathing quite fast, quite shallow, because obviously if we're breathing fast, we're only breathing into the upper chest area. So just take a note of your breathing, and it might be useful to, if anxiety is something you really struggle with, just become more aware of that. And so now we're going to do a breathing exercise to lengthen that breath. And so there's quite a few ones actually, but we're just going to choose one each time. So today I have chosen what it's called square breathing. And I did learn this as well in Yuangong. And what it is, it's breathing naturally and you count as you're breathing in, and then you hold it for the same amount of time, and then you breathe out for the same amount of time. And you just try and you might start at like 4, but then after you've been practicing for a while, once you get to 10, if you can breathe in for 10, hold for 10, breathe out for 10, like you're at a pretty calm state. So you can play with that breathing. The course I did on anxiety changed that a little bit. It became, the breathing that I learnt there was square breathing. So it was very similar to what I'd learned in Yuangong, and you can play around with it. I think there's a slight, this one that I've just said, breathe in for whatever you are able to, hold for the same amount, and breathe out for the same amount, is probably a technique that will work over time to lengthen your breath. And this was taught to us before we learnt the 5th method, basically. So we could really calm the breathing down just to be able to do the 5th method. And so this other course I did, it just added another bit on. It's called square breathing. So you can play around and see which one works for you. When I played around with it, what I found was, that first exercise, yes, it was to do that. It was breathe in, hold, breathe out, was helping me to overall, and it has changed my breathing pattern, changes my breathing pattern. And this square breathing of breathing in, holding, breathing out, pause as well. So it's more square. The other one's more like 1, 2, 3. And this has got 4 steps. It was more like really instant. It instantly, in that moment when I needed it, helped me calm. So we're going to try the square breathing today. And you can play around with using 3 steps and 4 steps and just see which one works for you. So we'll start that now that breathing exercise, and then we will time again. So you're just going to just be natural. We don't need to get relaxed first. We just want to see where we're at. We're going to breathe in. We're going to have a different breathing rate. So you're going to need to count and regulate yourself. So you breathe in, hold. We're just going to do this for 5 minutes. Breathe in, hold the same amount of time, breathe out and pause. And just see how you go. If it feels too much, the pause, just stick to that 3. Breathe in, hold, breathe out at the same amount of time. Okay, we can stop now. And just allow your breathing to become natural. And we're just going to do another minute now, counting your breaths. So just to see what's happening now with your breathing. So we're going to just right now, starting now, just counting your breaths for a minute. And stop. And you might have seen a change. Sometimes it can halve. So when I counted that time, my breaths went down to 6. And so you can really notice how, yeah, it probably doesn't even take that long. We did do 5 minutes, but I find even sometimes a couple of minutes of that practice of breathing in, holding, breathing out, pausing, it doesn't actually take 5 minutes to make a difference. So yeah, it can kick it. It is just one of those things. Of course, we need to look at the root of things, but it's good to have some tools to feel like we can actually take charge of things with anxiety. So I wonder how you went, if you have any comments about that, how you found the exercise. If you noticed, did anyone's breathing increase after the after the breathing exercise? You might need to unmute, sorry.
Yeah. For me, Natalie, I get very, desperate to. I actually stopped doing the the hold. Like I get very desperate for breath.
Yes.
Yeah, just want to grab it.
Okay, it's good to notice that.
Yeah.
Because there's something in that, and I've noticed it actually when I was doing the exercise, because there's a lot of trust in the pause.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of trust in the pause in life as well, rather than having to jump in. And often when we're anxious, we feel trapped, like there's no way out. So we have to grab that next breath. And so we might just, if it's really too much for us, it's actually creating more anxiety, then we could just breathe in for 2, hold for 2, breathe out for 2, and then just start there and then increase and just see how you go. I think when I started the exercise, I was around 4 or 5, and now I'm 9 or 10 most of the time.
You mean breathing in for 9 or 10 and then?
Yeah, I mean, 9 or 10, I know that I've done with that exercise. I've reached that. I've used the exercise for what it was used for when I was taught it. But when I first started that exercise, my breath was on 4. Just to let you know.
Yeah, I'm about there. I was thinking that it's like any form of exercise, isn't it? Like you're building that. Like I'm thinking to myself, if I keep practicing, that will change. Hey, the more I practice, the less that kind of
feeling will be, and it'll change your sense of spaciousness in your daily life as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So I think also, is it connected into like that sort of, I think typically our breathing, we're kind of really focused, it's all about the oxygen, not the carbon dioxide aspect, which is the counterbalance, isn't it? You know,
Mhm.
we're grabbing oxygen rather
Yeah.
than pausing and allowing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I think it's absolutely, this
there's
is just completely resonating with my own where I've got to, and realizing where my breathing is at. You know, I think it is a really powerful thing. So,
yeah, and there's lots of different breathing techniques. It's just finding ones that work, you know, and different ones work for different things, but they're all working. They're all working on the parasympathetic
yeah,
sympathetic
yeah.
nervous system.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, great. But did your breathing
It stayed about the
decrease?
same,
Stayed about the same. Okay.
because I think I had got myself into kind of like a bit too a graspy state, you know,
Okay.
from doing that. So when I went in, actually it felt calmer, but the breathing was, yeah, still the same.
Okay. How did you find it, Julia?
Good. I had 7 in the first one and then dropped down to about 5
Wow.
to 5.5. But I've always been a really shallow breather, shallow and slow. And I found after doing that square breathing, the outward breath, I could feel it go, you know, deeper, deeper, deeper. And the out breath became much stronger, which was quite good, and the pause was longer, which was great. Whereas otherwise it's just this long slow in, long slow out, but I felt the breath go much further down, you know, a deeper breath rather than sort of just up here. It was more right down there, which was good. Yeah.
Great. I'm just checking in with Paulette because she dropped out, so I hope she's all right. Just checking in after that breathing.
Hope she's still breathing.
Yeah, I'm sure she's still breathing, but I just want to check in whether it's just it might be just her internet connection, but yeah.
So the quality of breath became a lot better.
Yeah, and it can make, I mean, deep breathing is so good for our health. I mean, even our physical health, but obviously our mental health as well, and our ability to just make calm, clear choices and connect to the heart and all sorts. So that's why we're putting a bit of focus on the breath, especially with.
Does the breath connect with blood pressure in your system?
I'm sure it does. Yeah, definitely. I mean, stress creates high blood pressure.
Yeah, and I've always had super low blood pressure, which isn't good either. So it's just, quality of breath probably helps with that too.
Yeah, so it's interesting that your breath is, you know, it's quite deep and low in the blood pressure. So that's interesting. Might be an interesting thing to investigate. You might be able to teach us something if you investigate that aspect. Yeah. Yeah, so the next part, we are just going to do some very basic stuff. It's very basic, but at the same time, it's something we, you know, it's useful to do because this course is for all different people. And some people, you know, anxiety is something that they experience on a daily basis. So I put the course together for people at different spectrums of what they're experiencing. So this is just a basic one. We can just try it in our chair. It's just being like, you know, you can tense each part of your body, which we'll do, because it's very, when you say, oh, am I relaxed? You know, it's not until you kind of feel yourself that you know, like, am I relaxed or am I not relaxed? Is my body tense or is it relaxed? And sometimes going more into the tension can release the body. Of course, the more Qigong we do, we can start to recognize tension building rather than when it's become really, really tense. And we can use our mind to relax the body. So this technique is quite physical. It's not really a Qigong technique, but it can be useful still, because sometimes things happen where we might have been through something that shocked us, or a big experience, and sometimes it's just good to get back into the body and then go more subtle into the chi. But even like things like cleansing the fists, because we hold a lot of tension, and if you actually try tensing more and then relaxing, it can help us just to relax, or really raise the shoulders, really raise them and hold them up, tense them up. You just do this with me as we go, and then relax them. I mean, you may not be able to do that. Just see, I know, Charlotte, it might be a bit, just do what is safe for you today. And the same with lifting our toes up, like clenching the toes. You can't see my toes, but lifting the heels off the floor and tensing the toes. So they're just like little things, like say you worked in an office and you can't do a full practice and you're just feeling really tense. Like you have some real deep tension in the body that you kind of need to free up a little bit, because when we're anxious, our muscles freeze, they become hardened. And so that's just a quick technique, is to just do those few squeezing the body. And then there is, we'll go through now the whole body. Another one is you push down on the chair. So if you're in a chair and you just place your hands on the sides beside your thighs and just push down. And you in a way, it's like accelerating. So if you're feeling quite tense and anxious, and then relaxing. So they're just like really basic things. And then we can do the same with our whole body. So we're going to do the same with our whole body, so more on a physical level, and then we're going to move into more Qigong practice. And the thing is that if we are in a state of tension, and we don't even notice that we're in a state of tension, this constant tension actually makes us more sensitive and heightens our tendency to scan for more danger, because we're feeling tense. So we're looking around going, why am I so tense? So it kind of sets up this cycle where we're looking for things. So it's just this perpetual thing. So when we're, our thinking makes us tense, but then our tension makes us look for things as well that are creating this tension. So relaxation is so important, and it is the very first thing in, the Jucha. You remember the relaxation, calmness, naturalness, integration, unification, harmony, Jucha. So it's like relaxation is so big. It's so simple, yet how relaxed are we? Like we can always improve, I think, improve that ability to relax. So we're going to just go through that exercise, but more through each part of the body. And I guess when you become more aware of where do you hold tension in your body, you can just isolate the exercise and try and tense up that area of your body that you're holding tension in. But we're just going to go through a whole body, muscle by muscle sort of relaxation. We're not muscle by muscle, but generally the areas of the body. So just become aware of tensing up your eyes, really tense your eyes. And then relax your eyes. And then tensing up your cheeks. And relax your cheeks. And then tensing up your jaw and your neck. And then relaxing. And then tensing up your shoulders, really tensing up those shoulders. And then relaxing. And then tensing up your back, your upper back and your shoulder blades, just pushing the shoulder blades together and tensing up that area. And relaxing. And then tensing the abdominal muscles, lower back. And relaxing. Tensing the buttocks. And then relaxing. Tensing up your thighs. Might take a while to get all the way through, just trying to feel the whole of your thighs from your hips down to your knees, feeling the whole thigh, tension and relaxation. And try to isolate your calf muscles. And relaxing your feet and your toes, tensing the feet and the toes. And relaxing. And sometimes we're not aware of how much tension we're holding. And over the years, I feel I have relaxed. Yet, I think it's just good to know that sometimes when we become more aware of our body, say more chi awareness, or more awareness of our patterns, we actually start to detect tension more, so more than the average person. So the tension we detect may be not that full body tension like a lot of people may experience, but it feels like it. It feels like it's the same because it is the same. And when you've got like a pattern going on, you'll start to feel chi blockages in your body, and that starts to feel like a tension. But doing these sorts of exercises can help relax on all levels. And it's good to become more aware. So before the anxiety accelerates, just starting to notice, where do I, and this is part of the homework. I've got a whole worksheet to just get more aware of your own experience of anxiety or stress. Where do I feel it in my body? And just starting to notice, actually, like when we're aware of chi, I mean, that's why chi is amazing, because if we can become more aware of chi, we have a much more refined awareness, and we'll start to become aware of any tension and anxiety in our body much sooner and be able to do something before it manifests so strongly. So we're going to do now another relaxation exercises, but this is more from Qigong. So this is relaxing things on a Qi level. So we'll need a space to stand. We're going to be doing Paw Qi relaxation exercise. And then we'll finish with a meditation. So I've got another 20 minutes of practice. So just find a space for practice. To pop that back here a bit. And if you can't do this with your physical body today, just use your mind. You can very much do this exercise with your mind. So just, it's a lovely clearing exercise, relaxation exercise. So now that we've done that very physical way of relaxation, now just become aware of yourself, aware of your body. aware of your whole body, aware of where you're holding tension in your body. And now we're going to relax as we know, like, relaxing through the body. Bringing our awareness to the top of the head and feeling our whole head. And it's like bathing that area in light, bright light and chi. Relaxing the head. Moving your awareness down. So you're really activating the mind and chi to relax. Relaxing your neck. Moving down, relaxing your shoulders and your arms, your hands and fingers. Bringing your awareness to your chest. Relaxing the chest and relaxing the upper back. Really use your consciousness to guide the chi to help you to relax. Relax your upper abdomen, middle of your back, and relaxing down into your lower abdomen and your lower back. Relaxing your buttocks and your thighs, and your knees, your lower legs, and your feet. Relaxing the whole body. And so this exercise we're going to do that same thing over and over again, but we're going to use the mind and chi a little bit more actively. So we have tiger mouth, which is sort of hands like you're holding a chi ball. You have that, and you start to lift, connect to the earth and start to lift chi up. Probably feel that you're lifting it up, and we have this chi field around our body. It's like we're actually sitting in an egg, and it's beautiful that as we lift our arms, we're kind of connecting to that whole chi field, not just our body, also our chi field. But as we're lifting the chi up, we want to expand our mind out, far out to the universe, to gather more and more chi. And we gather more and more chi and lift it to the top of the head. And pour chi down through the whole body. It's like a shower of chi pouring through your body. Connect to the chi field that we're building together. That there really is chi. Chi exists. It's bright, clear, healthy. And then just start to pour it through your whole body. So your hands move down and your mind and the chi moves down at the same level as your hands. And you're just pouring this chi through your whole body, coming through your head, through your neck, through your shoulders, arms, and moving down through your torso. Whole body's like a cylinder of chi, moving down through your abdomen, through your buttocks. Closing Hui Yin, so lifting up Hui Yin, moving chi through the pelvis and down through the buttocks, the thighs, the knees and the legs. And relaxing your mind, relaxing everything down deep into the earth. Then connect with the earth again, create the tiger mouth and lift chi up again. So even if you can't do this physically, you probably feel the power of your mind, how your mind can connect with chi. Your mind can direct the chi. So it can be even a more powerful exercise. So lifting chi to above the head, and this time we're going to pour this chi down the front half of our body. So you pour it first, and then you start to relax your shoulders, relax your hands, guide chi down. Through your head, front of your face. And just see if you can just be here in this moment, the present moment, feeling the chi in your body, moving through your body, through your neck, through your chest. Through your upper abdomen, through your lower abdomen. It's like the front half of your body, moving down through the fronts of the legs, down into your feet. And chi's building, going to lift another chi ball up. To above the head. This time we're going to concentrate on the back half of your body. Pour chi down the back half of your body. And then relaxing your hands, relaxing your arms, your shoulders. Bring your mind to the back half of your body. Hands moving down the front, but your mind and chi moving down through the back part of your body, back of the head, the neck, the upper back. And take your time if you need to really relax that back as you're moving down. Relaxing the whole back, the whole spine, moving down the middle of the back, the lower back, down the buttocks, and backs of the legs, the calves, the thighs, the calves, down into the earth. And then again, we're going to lift chi up again. Just really enjoy that. Just feel how you're becoming calmer. And actually the chi is becoming really a healing practice because you're so calm. You're gathering more and more chi. Lifting up to the top of your head. This time we're going to focus on the sides of the body. So the left half and the right half, pouring chi down the sides, but also feeling the left, balancing the left and the right side of the body. And bringing your hands down the sides. So just dropping your hands down to your ears. So drawing chi down through the left and right hemisphere of the brain. Coming down past the ears. Relaxing your hands on top of your shoulders and then turning the palms so the fingers face down. Keep guiding the chi down the sides of your body. Moving down all the way down into the earth. And connecting one more time to the earth below. Just feel how you're carrying this precious chi, healthy, abundant chi, to above your head. And the very last one, we want to pour through the center. Get a sense of your center. Close way in. Sense of your center. And guide chi down through your center. Connecting to the upper dantian and keep moving down through the center. And just bringing your hands just underneath your lower dantian, just a bit like the standing form. It's like holding that lower dantian, and just follow 10 breaths. Natural breathing. Just feel in, and not just your breathing, but like you don't follow your breath up to your chest, but just do 10 breaths with your dantian, your lower dantian expanding. Breathing in, lower dantian's expanding. Breathing out, lower dantian's contracting. Just following, really bringing the chi down, grounding yourself in to that lower dantian. Doing 10 breaths. Just placing your hands on lower dantian. And let's take a seat for the very last part. I'm going to do a connecting to the heart, the last part. So we are feeling stress or anxiety, sometimes it helps to go to the heart, and sometimes we first need to go to lower dantian to just ground in, because our lower dantian is the base of our middle dantian, which is the heart and the solar plexus. So it kind of gives us some grounding to be able to move down and ground, and then we can sit in the seat of our heart. So now we're just going to do a little bit of heart breathing, of really feeling yourself, you know, the lower dantian, but feeling the seat of your heart where you reside. And so we're going to do some heart breathing. So we're going to breathe in, and we're going to open, just sensing how your heart's doing today. We're going to open the heart. You can visualize a flower maybe, or the wings of a bird, or a star. And when you breathe in, there's like an opening, the petals or the star radiating out, or the wings of the bird is just expanding out. Feeling the freedom and the joy of who you are. And feel that as you breathe in again, maybe that space in your heart is getting bigger. So the door of the heart, Kei Shin, the door of the heart is becoming more open. With each and every breath, the heart is opening. There's a feeling of warmth and spaciousness and openness in the chest. And when the heart is open, it's like every channel in the body is open. Every part of the body is open. So our heart can really help us to open. So another way you can use the heart, well, I guess, another way you can honor the heart is, and it can bring more relaxation in your life, is you can unify with any part of your body that is not relaxed. And as you breathe in, your heart opens, and your heart radiates out to open that other part as well. Feel your heart opening as you're breathing in, and it's just creating this big open door which opens your heart, and it opens any part in your body that wants to be open. And then when your heart is quite open, your heart can open up to your Shen. It can start to open up to your Shen, your true self. It opens up, and it's like the heart and the center of the head are unified, becoming one and open. And you start to feel your authentic self. You start to experience windows of who you are. And when you feel who you are, you know that these other experiences are just like clouds in the sky. They're just passing through. And just feel that inner smile, that inner joy when you're connected to yourself and you know that everything else is just passing through. Just spend a minute. We're going to spend a couple of minutes with ourselves. Or a minute now, just a minute, that last minute. Just enjoying that connection to yourself. And just take that seat. Take that seat in your heart. And feel that everything is, nothing's suspended. It's all relaxed. You're in your heart and you're grounded in your lower dantian. And just feel even your legs, your feet, how you're fully present, you're fully here and now. So my heart is smiling, that's how it feels. So I hope your heart is smiling too. And I really look forward to next week. I'll get this out this afternoon and there'll be like a 1 to 2 page little exercise just to be aware of, where anxiety or stress sits in your life. And we'll talk about that next week. But it'd be great if you could do the exercise or make next session much richer. So let's just do the head and face, rubbing chi in the hands. Send chi into yin tang, bright light, going into yin tang, into shen. Opening up your forehead, just creating that space for shen to manifest. Rubbing chi around the temples and the eye sockets. The nose and sinuses. And your whole face. And hands like hooks. Just sending chi deep inside the brain. All the synapses. Just everything's changing in a positive way. And then hands on Bai Hui, Yu Jian. Tapping open the gates. Vibrating chi into the ears. And massaging your ears from the tips down to the lobes. Pulling the lobes. So I'll see you next week.